It moved from small things like I can't travel with you guys to big things like I can't take this job that is abroad. Hi guys, welcome to my channel and thank you so much for being here. So there's a topic happening on Twitter about how marriage can hold women back, and I think the topic was started by a question that was asked by, I don't know, I forgot the name. I'll put up the question here if I do find it, sorry. So she asked, do we think that if Bonang, Nomzamambata, Tusembe, Bedu and the likes of other successful women would be this successful if they were married? And I think obviously she was speaking in terms of being successful abroad. The conversation then moved from, do we think marriage can hold women back, or do we think marriage and motherhood can hold women back? A lot of women, if not all, agreed that motherhood can definitely hold you back. Not all people wanted to admit that marriage can hold you back, and I actually don't want to talk about that because I'm not married. But I do want to talk about the motherhood part of it because I have first-hand experience of how motherhood has held me back and how I've actually seen how motherhood have held other people in my life back. I grew up in an environment where it was just women, it was my grandmother. She had 4 daughters, and those daughters went and had daughters, and we are those daughters who are also having daughters. So there's like a long line of very, very strong and independent women in my family. So I grew up there's no man at home. Well, how I grew up, it was just my grandmother was the head of the home, still is, but now we've separated. But when we all together, she is the head matriarch, queen bee of the house. I've always been surrounded by very, very strong women, and obviously I've always known that I'm definitely going to be one of them myself, and I think that I am one of them. So growing up in a home like that, I used to hear my grandmother say things like, oh, if I didn't have you guys, basically her children, and for the longest time I never understood what she meant. I was just like, okay, this lady, what is she saying? But the older I get, the older I've got, and now that I've got kids on my own, I do get it. I am part of the 100% woman on Twitter that agrees that motherhood does hold you back. I'm not only going to speak about myself, I'm also going to speak about my mom. My mother is a nurse. She became a nurse in the year 2000 or 2001, around there. And there was a time where basically, I think it was 2003, where a lot of South African nurses were moving to England to go. I don't know, there was a surge of like South African nurses moving to England. And one of my mother's friends moved. And as soon as she got there, she settled and she got her shit together. And immediately after, she started sending my mom application forms, which was just like, you need to come this side, better opportunities, better everything. And my mom was keen and on it in the beginning. She was filling out the forms. We were going to internet cafes to go print out the forms. It was a thing. I was 11, 12 at that time, and my sister was probably about 5 or 6. My mom only had the 2 of us. It was 3 of us in the home. And I remember my mom being keen on it. She would fill in the forms and stuff. And I think the day she was supposed to send the forms, she just didn't, and I was so mad at her for that, because I just felt like, dude, if you go to England, you're gonna make way more money and you're probably gonna stay there for like 2-3 years, and then you're gonna come back and we're gonna be better, instead of you just staying here and being a nurse in South Africa when you guys don't earn that much. Unfortunately, nurses in South Africa don't earn much, and they work hard, but they don't earn salary about the kind of work they do. So I was kind of mad at that. And my mom was just like, no, I can't leave you guys. You're 12 and your sister is like 6 years old. I can't do that. And I was just like, you can, And at that time, I didn't grow up with my mom around full time. So I was used to not having her around. But I think she thought, this is the first time I actually have my kids in one home and I'm going to leave again. I'm not doing that. I didn't see it that way, but obviously in hindsight, she saw it that way, and then she made the decision to stay. That was the first time I saw motherhood holding someone back. And it was my own mother, and I felt like I was the reason, my sister and I were the reason why this person didn't go fulfill their dreams abroad, their dreams and our dreams abroad, you know, because at that time it's not like she could just pack up and take us. Cool, my mom stayed. Fast forward to however many years later, I now feel like motherhood has held me back a bit. And please, just a disclaimer, don't get me wrong, I do not regret having my children, and I don't think my mother regretted having her children, and I don't think any other woman who's been held back by motherhood regrets their decision. But we do need to have these conversations about the good, the bad, and the messy side of motherhood, you know. And the bad side of motherhood is that you do have to put some, if not most of your dreams on hold up until maybe your kids are a certain age. Motherhood has held me back in a few ways, you know. It has, because I had my first child when I was very, very young, so motherhood, for me, held me back. I don't want to, like, in this instance, it's more of I had to grow up quicker than my peers, because the responsibility of having a child basically matured me. So obviously it's from the little things, like it held me back from clubbing, you know, it held me back from traveling with my friends, you know. We all start our new jobs, our first jobs, and we all now, well, they are all now putting together money on their first international trip. I think my friends, the first time they went away as like a group, it was to Mozambique, and all of them didn't have children. So for me, I wasn't able to go to the trip because I had a child. Even though I didn't live with that child, I still had financial responsibility towards the child because I'm a single mom. Whether it's subconscious or not, motherhood does hold you back. And whether you live with your child or not, whether you are rich or not, whether you are, if you could be in any kind of position, motherhood will hold you back somehow. It could be something small as motherhood holding you back from traveling, or it could be something big as motherhood holding you back from taking a job in another country or another city, you know. So for me, it started as something small, like, okay, now I can't go out as much, now I can't go, I can't travel with my friends as much. As a result, your friends start to drop, you know. And I've heard a lot of people speaking about once you become a mother, you lose friends. That's another conversation for a whole nother day, but it's also part of why you lose friends, because I can't afford to do the things that you guys, we're supposed to be doing at our age. So for me, it was that. In the beginning, it started being like little things like, oh, I can't travel with you guys. Oh, I can't go to the spots with you guys. I can't do much with you guys because I'm a mother. It moved from things like that to actually now not being able to take jobs in different countries. I've always wanted to be a writer, and when I was in matric, my English teacher is the one who was just like, I think you need to study journalism, and I did, thanks to her. I did, and I've been working as a writer ever since I graduated. And I'm very, very lucky in that all the magazines that I said I was going to write for and I was going to work for, I have. I've worked for some of the biggest magazines in South Africa, and I'm forever grateful. But one of the magazines I actually really, really wanted to work for was Essence magazine, that is based in New Orleans in America. And I really wanted to write for that magazine. I remember applying, that they were looking for basically, I think a cultural writer. And I remember applying, I was just like, let me just apply. And they did say it was open to basically anyone in the country, because I think they had like writers all over the country, all over the world, I mean. And they did specify that the position was open to anyone, as long as you're obviously willing to relocate and stuff. I was just like, you know what, let me try my luck. Let me try my luck. I tried my luck, and they wanted to interview me. I was just like, oh shit, I was actually just trying my luck. I didn't think this was actually going to be real. I didn't even confirm the interview, because I knew that even if I get the job, there's no way I am going to move to America when I think at the time Alanda was 5 years old, you know. So I had to let that go. So I didn't even confirm with them that I was going to attend the online interview and write the test. There were so many things that they required, but I was just like, you know what, I'm not even going to confirm this, because I knew that I wouldn't be able to move to America anyway, you know, not with a child, not with a small child. So I let that opportunity go. God knows what was going to happen if I actually did the online interview, did the test. God knows where I'd be. But I knew that taking the job would actually take me further away from my child. Already I was in Joburg and she's in Durban, and now I'm about to go to America, and I didn't know like what's the process of wanting to bring her here. I didn't think about those things. And even if I did think about those things, for me, it just, at that time, it didn't seem possible. That is how motherhood has held me back. And also motherhood continues to hold me back. There's so many things that I would do if I wasn't a parent, but I can't because I have to think about other people that I brought into this world, that people who didn't choose to come here, you know. So obviously it is my responsibility to make sure that they're good before me. So motherhood will hold you back in things like that emotionally. You know, you will always have to think about them first. Whatever you do, you will always have to think about them first. Whatever decision you make today affects them 5-10 years down the line. So everything about motherhood is very emotionally taxing, and also motherhood holds you back a lot financially. You know, when you think about how expensive education is, you will always be working ahead or saving for education, for your child's education, up until they finish varsity, if they choose to go to varsity. And hopefully you pray that they get a job in what they studied for, so that they can continue taking care of themselves. But if they can't, then they still your responsibility basically for the rest of their lives. And that means that putting aside some of the things that you've wanted to do, if you wanted to travel Europe for 2 weeks, you might not be able to, unless maybe then if you're rich, obviously there are things that you can do. I'm speaking for myself, you know, I'm speaking for myself and women like me who, we are not rich, you know, we try. Motherhood has held me back and continues to hold me back, and I know that motherhood will hold me back for the rest of my life, because your children are yours for the rest of your life, you know. Their needs will always come first. I try to preach that, don't forget that you are a woman first before you are anyone's mother, but realistically you are someone's mother. So whatever it is that you want or need may have to come second, you know. I do hear what the women on Twitter are saying, and all of them are saying the same thing when it comes to motherhood, holding women back. Whether you are married or single, motherhood will hold you back, and I think it will probably hold you. I think when you're married, it's even worse. I think when you're a married mother, it's even worse. The things that hold you back now is it's marriage itself, and children, having children. As much as I don't know much about the marriage thing, I do have friends that I have seen also being held back by that type of situation. Luckily, there's something about it though that doesn't create any resentment. For me personally, it doesn't. I don't look at my children and think, oh wow, if it wasn't for you, I'd be living in a mansion. I don't look at them and feel that way, but I do sit with myself now and then and think, you know what, actually, if I didn't have children, I would probably be a bit way further in life than I am now. But it's like, whatever, it's okay. I'm happy that I'm here. I'm happy that I get to do this life thing with them, and I'm happy I get to, whatever it is that God has in store for me, I'm happy to receive it. But it doesn't stop the thoughts, you know, it doesn't stop the thoughts. And I don't know a lot of mothers I don't know any mother who resents their child because they haven't been able to pursue some type of dreams. Maybe they are, Bashim, I don't know. I'm sure they are, but it's just that, once again, talking about something like that, someone's going to judge you for it. But for me personally, I don't feel any type of resentments about that. So yeah, guys, that's the end of the video. I just wanted to do a short video inspired by the topic that is being spoken about on Twitter. Are you in the same position? How has motherhood held you back? Whether it's not being able to groove as much as you have, or having to let go of a job, or having to let go of certain things in your life, or not driving the Mercedes and having to drive a Hyundai. Like me, I would love to drive a Mercedes, but I will stick to Hyundai. I would love to live in a 5 million rand mansion, but I mean, we are here now. But I mean, I feel like even if I didn't have kids, I still wouldn't afford to live in a 5 million rand mansion. But a girl can dream, you know. So how has motherhood held you back? Is it as deep as not being able to take a job in another city, another province, another country? Or is it something small as not being able to go out for a night out with your friends? Let's talk. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you next time.